in the aftermath of the battle for Duskwall, basically, word gets around rather quickly that Skurlock has been defeated. Without either Skurlock or Sitara to lead the forces, the resistance very easily crumbles. And the military, while a bit rough around the edges at first, they do reclaim control of the town. And as the major resistance leaders give up, peace finally finds its way back into the town.
For now.
For now.
I'm gonna go.
The
I'm gonna go disturb the peace.
not quite yet.
And he reveals himself as the main villain.
Yes, the true BBEG. No. As things begin to settle down, and with no further resistance from the people, the military begins to loosen its grip on the people, and they do eventually pull out. The Emperor gives an inspired speech about keeping the peace and how rebellion is bad for the Empire, but as many of you know, it's mostly empty words, just meant to keep the public fearful of his heavy-handed military power. But in time, the military, the army, and the navy retreat. The Emperor returns to the capital, and things somewhat go back to normal. The electric fence is repaired. However, the infestation of ghosts within Night Market is not completely dealt with. There are the Spirit Wardens consider it a lost cause, and what ends up happening is that they rebuild the fence, keeping Night Market out as lost territory to the Deathland. So, unfortunately, that section of town is basically gone. The merchants find this a bit of a wrongdoing, but as the Spirit Wardens have their hands full and are unable to take out all of the ghosts that have made their way into the city, they don't exactly have much choice in the matter. And so they take up their shops and rebuild in many of the other districts. However, at this time, the Sparkrights come out with an announcement to the public that they have completed what they believe to be the next big thing in power for the city. Not power as in like governmental power, but power for electricity. A new way to light the city that would no longer have them required to depend on the what's it called? The manipulated scarcity of electroplasm. And they have an open presentation at Charter Hall University showcasing their brand new battery packs. The Leviathan Hunters come forth, what's the word? Vouching for this new technology and explaining their part in the whole thing. I don't know if they would admit that this is connected to a Leviathan that they've just like trapped off the coast, but they will mention that their part in the business is still there, and that they, as well as the Sparkrights, can work together um, without any nobles sticking their dirty fingers into things, and provide power to the city in a much better way than has been dealt with before. And reception for this is widespread. After the events of the fence going down, losing Night Market, and the bloody riots that followed, people are more than happy to embrace a new form of electricity. And unless you guys decide to influence this in any way, the Sparkrights and Leviathan Hunters will actually rise to power within the town, sort of filling in this void that was left behind when Skurlock died. The common folk, the workers, they still need something to rally behind, and the Sparkrights and the Leviathan Hunters are more than willing to provide them with an opportunity. Take in workers who are suddenly find themselves out of a job now that electroplasm is no longer on the table. People who were wronged in the past because of corruption due to the mishandling of electroplasm rations and the monopoly that was sort of run with the city council, and this causes them to be very popular factions among town. Not necessarily like what the Lord Governor, not like as high in power as that, but they have enough weight behind them after a little bit that they're able to keep the nobles in check, and so things turn for the better in town. So that's it for town lore. How does the crew continue?
Oh, guys.
We can, I guess, go down the list and see if there are any loose ends you guys want to tie up. Anything you would like to have them do as they head into this new era. Start with loose.
Okay, so Luz will be getting ready to open the second location of the business and kind of adopting the Lamplex, I guess.
Yeah.
Almost not really consciously, it just kind of
It just
happened.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, like they keep showing up asking for
Asking for work.
directions or whatever or work, and she's like, "Oh right, I did ask you to." And so they're hers now,
Yes.
technically. So other than that, it's just opening the second location, getting more clients, looking after her people, making sure Virgil showers like twice a month.
Bare minimum.
At least. And that works out very successfully. You are able to open the second store, second location, and with the help of the Lamp Blacks, you're more than able to staff both locations very well. The advertising goes great, and you turn a pretty huge profit.
Yeah, rich guys,
Yeah, and
we are winning.
you are winning, and it actually becomes a very integral part of the business, becoming a bit of a like third in command now. So as you started everything from the ground up. You had Holtz come in and was your second in command for quite a bit on the business side, and now adopting the
Yes,
Lamp Blacks.
he is my
Uh,
son.
yes, Pickett now takes up the mantle as your next in command for the Lamp Blacks, and it gets to a point where you're actually able to prepare to start up a third location, and so
Cha.
um, yeah, you start chaining,
Expand
and
to
so
other cities. Like we're
exactly,
gonna
yeah,
set up a franchise.
a franchise.
Franchise.
Um, so between you, Holtz, and Pickett, you have you set up a third store. You have 3 locations spread out throughout town, so no one has to go more than 1 or 2 districts away to find one of your locations. And as the money flows, you look to further domains and investing into starting business elsewhere.
Excellent.
Epic. Look at you, an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Golden ending for Luz.
Absolutely stellar.
What about Holtz? What is Holtz up to?
Holtz. Holtz is like getting by, being helpful, but she might want to try to get some closure at least on the whole business with what even are their fucking names? The 2-in-1 deal?
Oh yeah. Um.
I don't know, trying to make peace with like
Yeah.
uh this is not Holtz. Where is Holtz character sheet? I have
Oh
not
yeah.
looked at her NPCs in ages.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
one who's got the
Salia.
ghost.
Okay, oh, this is the person. Salia is the ghost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess trying to get some closure, make peace with the raids. Do we like the raids? Are they friends or
Yeah, we're pals.
Yes. You're
yeah?
you're
Now that we're kind of partners, I guess Holtz will try to like at least be on civil terms
civil
with her.
terms. Yeah. I think I think that would work out. Considering how well your relationship with the rates ended up being, that would probably put you in very high standings, and at least on the first page of factions that the race would contact in need of help. And so it eventually comes to be you probably end up having to work a job or two together, but after some awkward beginnings, you do end up
Threesome.
yes, at least being on okay speaking terms with them. But I think also on the side, on with Haltz's free time, being the food connoisseur that Haltz is, you take up even more visiting of high ranking, high rating restaurants in the area, and you actually end up getting a very good connection with New, who hooks you up with a prominent what's the word? Food critic. And New understands that you are your drive for a bit was to sort of get into education, higher education. And
Oh,
while this isn't exactly what you are looking for, you're able to get a bit of training under this this food critic, and you end up becoming licensed as a critic yourself. And with your vast knowledge and healthy palate, you become one of the not only well known but sought out after food critics in town. And every time a new restaurant or tavern opens up, you always get invitations coming to your door to see what you think about the food.
We have gone past Holt from the brothel. Now it's Holt the food critic.
The food critic, yes.
Loving this for her. Love when like you pick a throwaway thing to put on your character sheet and then it just spirals from there.
Yes. Okay, June. What are you gonna do?
Well, she is very close to finishing her mission, so
Is
I think that's the plan, at least in the near future, is to. I think she does like a lot of like hands-on work when it comes to like restoring this building that she purchased. She does a lot of it herself, and I think she like tries to conscript like the other like people in the crew are like, hey, can you help me move these boards, or can you help me fix this window or lay down carpet or something.
Yeah.
She kind of like is absorbed into this work for a while. And I don't know how long that takes her. She's probably doing the majority of it by herself, unless people are willing to help.
Ari would help you quite a bit, probably.
Sweet. But I think eventually it does get done. And it's not like, it's not like the prettiest thing in the world. It's just an apartment building in Crow's Foot. But I think she opens it up first to the people who used to live there. And she doesn't like do fucking renting. She's not a landlord. I think she lets people buy the property in the building.
Okay.
And there's no rent or anything because that sucks. But yeah, I think she just kind of becomes like this manager of this building and like really takes a focus on like helping these people out. And I think there's like a point where everybody else who lived in this building before she blew it up is like either long gone in the sense that they moved away and found somewhere else, or long gone as in they fucking died when she blew it up.
Yeah.
And so I think there's like extra space, and she tries to find like people who were displaced or like refugees during this like conflict and tries to bring them in and help them out.
Okay.
So she probably saves space for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what takes up a lot of her time, I think, is that.
It's actually pretty close to what I had thought up for June. I think like at first it is definitely a repaying a debt. Like I did something wrong, I need to fix it. But the more she spends time working on this building, the more she actually enjoys it. The more she could see herself doing this, continuing to do this past once the debt is fulfilled. And when she gets to that point where she fills it up with the people who were immediately affected by it, and she starts bringing in other people, bringing in refugees from this riot phase of the town, people who were displaced or lost their homes, mostly people from night market. She finds a lot of joy and comfort in this, and wants to keep going. And part of her still hasn't lost that intellectual spark, that's desire to keep tinkering. And I feel like once you get past this initial apartment building, you would move on to help out with your alumni, because I feel like at this point you would have already graduated. And you do like a dorm for the university,
Yeah.
but sort of keeping in line with that whole tinkering side of yourself, you would section off like the basement floor of this dorm to be like air quotes secret lab that students could work in and perhaps do some experiments that aren't necessarily up to school rules from time to time.
Oh, for sure.
And she definitely spends her own fair share of time in those lower levels as well.
Absolutely. I think also there might be like she might like, because she has like kind of insider access, quotation marks, to like spark rates technology. I think she's like maybe tries to implement it in other places, like in her building or at like the original brothel or something.
Yeah,
Get like fancy lights. She's like, I
yeah,
want to try these fancy lights out, guys. Apparently they're supposed to be like, you know, LED or something.
definitely.
But yeah, no, the rest of that's spot on for sure. For sure.
Okay, what about Iota?
I think they kind of don't know what to do right now or at least in the beginning, they don't know what to do because New is kind of pushing for Iota to come home. He's like, the family misses you, you know? They think that you're dead. Come home. They can, you know, get used to you being back. I think they would love it if you were back. And he kind of pushes that for a while, but New doesn't really, or Iota doesn't really want to, I don't think. I think Iota is comfortable in the life that they've created right now. But they're really still interested in the Leviathan hunters and doing Leviathan hunter things. So I think they try to like sign up as a Leviathan hunter and maybe not like necessarily like leave the black sheep, but maybe they try to do a little bit of both.
Do
Or at
hunting on the
least
side.
be or like be like a liaison or something
Okay.
between the two.
Yeah, you can definitely find time in between jobs with the black sheep. There's stuff that you can take care of with the Leviathan hunters. They don't necessarily do as much hunting as they did in the past. Not to say that they can't. With Zatara out of the picture, the waters are not nearly as demon infested as they were, but the Leviathans were already scarce, and considering the new implementations that the Sparkrights have done with the one Leviathan that they have so conveniently trapped nearby, much of their sailing work has been relegated to mostly busy work, ferrying battery packs back and forth. Maybe every now and then you'll bring some new Sparkrights interns over to check out the generator, make sure everything's working all right, show them the ropes, but it's clean, honest work.
I think they find joy in doing something that's just, you know, normal for a while.
Regular.
Yeah. Something that feels like that it feels like that they have a place and they're not like a ghost walking around who's
Yeah. Outsider, someone who doesn't belong.
or someone who's presumed dead, you know.
Yeah. Cool. So what does Virgil have planned, if anything?
Well, Virgil doesn't really have his life figured out, but he is very slowly convinced by everyone else to start showering every other week.
Every other.
It's progress.
It's improvement, yeah.
It's definitely more often than he was at the beginning. And while
Primary motivation is not wanting to be locked in a shower stall for 24 hours
Yes.
ever again.
Yes. I'd say most everyone has gotten used to his scent, but the increase in frequency of his showers definitely does help. The Lamp Blacks were certainly very confused when they first met Virgil. For many reasons, his stench notwithstanding, but they got used to him, and he seems to be doing better.
Character growth.
Character
So proud
growth,
of him.
yes. I'd like to think that he also eventually it's very long and slow and expensive, but he starts building his own pool so that he can
Painful?
finally start get that like crack pool set up.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Um,
After all
but
these years.
it takes him a while, and like
That's a lot of cocaine.
yeah, he gets June to help a little bit, since June's become quite the handyman working on her like apartment building.
Yeah.
And he gets the lumber and stuff in, and it's definitely work that no one else will be willing to help him on other than June, just because June likes getting down and dirty and doing this stuff. But as soon as anyone hears the reason why he's building this pool, no one wants is going to indulge him that. So he does have to do it solo, and it does take him many years to finish this pool. Not to mention having to then save up to get all the money to buy enough crack to fill it. But one day, maybe decades from now, he'll call up all of Black Sheep to like the backyard and be like,
He'll
I've
be
done
on
it.
he'll be on his deathbed, and they're just pouring in the last of the crack, and he'll be like, "Okay, wheel me over there. I'm ready to die."
Is that where we
Yes.
bury him? In
You
the
just
pool.
bury him in the pool. Amazing.
He actually goes entirely sober because he's putting all his money into filling up the
Into
pool.
filling
He
up
has
the
to
pool.
save it all.
Yes. He can't use any.
He gets high on his deathbed
Yes.
one last time.
That's
long
the
last.
reason that's the reason he dies, because he's been sober for so long that just the shock of all of it kills him.
Body couldn't handle being sober.
Amazing. How about Windsor?
Oh, this is gonna be good. So once everything settles down, he's gonna go to the new location of that store he's been visiting the last couple weeks.
Yes.
And he goes up right up to that one clerk he's been harassing this entire time. He's like, "I
This
want to speak
poor
to your
man.
manager. I need to speak to your manager right now."
He's so nervous. Like, as soon as you walk in, he's like, okay. He runs into the back. The manager eventually comes out after a minute. Takes like a deep breath as he sees that it's you. Is there something I can help you with, sir?
Sure shit, I'm buying this location.
Sir, if you have an issue with our options, you are welcome to go.
All of it is the issue. But that's the thing. I'm just gonna buy your entire location. This building is mine now.
Like, you can tell that he's not taking you seriously, but then, or he's not paying attention, really, because you've been to the store so many times and you're always throwing a fit. But he finally like comprehends what you're saying, and he's like, he does a double take. He's like, wait, what?
Name your
Can you
price.
do
I'm
that?
buying the store. I can do that.
You could do
Doing it
that.
right now.
Name our price. He like reaches into his back pocket and starts like doing a bunch of math. And he's like, well, if I end the mortgage here, and I'll have to let go of the workers, and there's all this stock I'm gonna have to cancel. Carry the one. Couple of these, couple of those. He crosses out a bunch of lines. That he rips out this piece of paper and like hands it to you. He's like, I'm not taking a gold less. And yeah, you look at it and the number is significantly smaller than you thought it would be.
I just oh, okay. I write him a check right on the spot.
He just stares at it for a minute
All
And he,
right,
like-
now that I own the place, bring all your workers out right now, right here. I want to talk to them.
he he very carefully takes the check, places it into the notebook that he was doing his math in, and he's like, okay. He starts calling everyone over. He's like, meet the new management, and he like looks over at you, very confused.
Hey there. I just bought the place. You're all fired, except for this one guy. He can stay. The guy I've been harassing.
What a jackass.
Everyone is like completely like shell shocked. They're like, what do you mean? I need this job.
That's unfortunate. Now get the hell off my property.
Like half the people are kind of just like, yeah, okay, whatever, and they just walk out. A couple of them start like breaking down into tears. One of them is just like not taking you seriously at all. He's like, you're kidding, right? I have stock I need to move. He like goes back into the back and keeps like doing his job. The one clerk that
I
you're
take the stock out of his hand, and I'm like, this shit is garbage. It's going in the trash. If you would like, you could stay for 5 minutes and throw it in the trash, but you're not getting paid.
he like looks at the manager, and the manager just like shrugs and just like walks out the door. He's like,
They're like some sort of like labor union here. This
I
doesn't
don't
seem-
know. Windsor's rich. He can do whatever he wants.
He just buys everyone.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
buying the whole place out. The guy's like, whatever. He just tosses the stuff aside and leaves. The
Alright.
the one clerk that you told to stay, he's like having a breakdown. He's in the corner with the other two workers who started sobbing because they just got fired. They're all like having a cry together.
Oh,
like,
group
"Hey,
cry.
dude, it's fine. You still have a job.
But it's for you.
I assure you, it will get better. I smile.
Will you be managing from home?
We'll
Will
see.
you be here every day?
He would be that boss.
Yeah, but you other two, you're trespassing on my property. Get the hell out.
He he very loudly like blows his nose, and the other two like they're still crying, but they just like walk out the door.
And I tell this one guy, so you're store manager now. I'll be checking in every couple days.
he stops crying at the mention of store manager, and then starts crying again when you say you'll be checking in every few days.
I'm like, so this is how much you're getting paid. I'll bring over your first check at the end of the week. It's gonna be a big check, I promise.
He stops crying again as soon as he looks at the check. He's like, "That's more than I make in half a year."
I know, and it's gonna be yours at the end of the week.
Okay, I can deal with this.
So I need you to clean the place up a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer, a little bit more upscale. Dunridge and Sons, we're gonna steal their whole business model, make it better.
He looks at you dumbfounded. He's like, "The Dundridge and Sons?" But they
Yeah, see, they had some good ideas, but they weren't doing it right. We're gonna do it.
if
So,
you say
You
so,
clearly know the
boss.
place. Just work your magic, and I'll see you later this week.
Okay, boss.
All right.
He's like still wiping snot out of his face.
I leave him alone for a week. Let him really settle in and get comfortable.
Okay.
And then I
Uh.
show up.
You show up, and the
Yeah.
place looks fantastic. It's not exactly a carbon copy of Dungeons and Sons, but it is. There are some twists to it, and he has definitely taken into account your very frequent mentioning and usage of Bentley. There's an entire section cornered off for petware. Lots of things in extra small sizes. And there's there's actually, so you know how stores will have what are they called? They're not like dummies, but the things
The
that they
mannequins?
mannequins, yeah, that's what they're called. He has a mannequin of Bentley with like one of the suits on.
I'm like eyeing the statue of Bentley. And I
it's
look
it's it's picture perfect. It looks just like him.
and I look at the store manager and I'm like, great work, great work.
I've been taking copious notes, sir.
Yeah. So let's talk about that pay.
His eyes sparkle. Like, about that pay.
Yeah, about that pay. You're fired. Get off my property.
What an asshole. Oh my god.
The life just
This-
leaves his
this guy.
eyes.
This guy.
But I did all this work for you.
Yeah, great work.
Do I get severance pay at least?
What the hell severance pay?
He starts crying again and just runs out the door.
Bentley's with me. I looked down and I'm like, we did it. We got a store and it looks great. Didn't have to do shit.
Bentley has like walked up over to the mannequin. He like stands up on his two legs and does the same pose as the mannequin, and then looks over at you, and then does the same pose as the mannequin.
And then from that point on, Windsor runs the store.
Yes. It is
Oh
it
my
is it is a little slower to start than you expect, but it ends up as things sort of settle down in town and people are more comfortable getting out and going around. Many of the shopkeepers who were displaced from night market do set up shop in this area, as this is the next best place for at least the higher end shopkeeps, and you get a lot of foot traffic, and surprisingly people like the badger aesthetic, and I would love to think that as an on the nose mimicry of Dungeons and Sons, you name your store Bentley and Windsor's,
Exactly.
and you are affectionately known by your regular customers as B-dubs.
B-dubs. Please. This is really good.
And within a few months' time, you actually do outdo Dungeons and Sons, and by the end of the year, they are forced to go out of business.
Perfect.
B-dubs reign supreme.
All hell B-dubs.
And all I had to do was ruin a bunch of lives.
No big, no big. All these lives ruined just for B-dubs.
Just for B-dubs.
Absolutely incredible.
All right. Nico.
I think Nico would probably go missing for a while. Or not missing, but they would sort of just go off and do their own thing for a bit. Mainly infiltrating the church. Probably like brutally murdering the person who kidnapped your family.
Yep, that is a thing that you can do.
And
So
then
you're gonna
I
do that
think
solo and not with the crew?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because if they manage to find their family, they would probably take them back home,
Okay.
assuming they find them alive. And also if they find like any other people who are also taken, who are also like kidnapped, they would probably free them as well. And then I don't know if you would let me do this, Ron, but they would probably burn down like a significant portion of the church
Just pull at Dimmer Sisters
and probably
yes.
blame it on
on the Red
someone else.
Dashes.
On the Red Dashes.
Already having a fit in the background.
Yes. That's more or less what I had in mind for what would happen. So
Yeah.
you take some time off. You don't tell the black sheep what's up, and you definitely concentrate your efforts on like mapping out the entire church, figuring out the ins and outs, all the entrances, all the exits, the patrol, what Mara schedule is like to the T. And after like months of staking this place out, you eventually, finally, assault the place. And all of your research does come to fruition. You are very easily able to infiltrate the place. There are plenty of secret rooms that you were not able to map out ahead of time. And because of this, it is a bit more difficult for you to do what you wanted to do once you get in. But what you find really opens your eyes to everything that they're really doing in there. You are somewhat demonic, right? Like,
Yeah. Like demon blood like in the
yeah.
ancestry somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So, as you infiltrate deeper and deeper into the basements and then the catacombs of this church, you start to find things that perhaps you were expecting, perhaps you weren't expecting. You find like lab rooms, a whole bunch of scientific, well, no, not scientific, religious research. All these notes and things about demons, half demons, demon blood, what can be done using that blood, infusion of said blood into humans, what happens when like different kinds of infusions, whether the blood is injected, whether the blood is consumed, and like the paper trail just goes on and on about all of these experiments that the church has been doing on not just like actual demons, but people that they have been like trafficking from your hometown. And you eventually get to a level that is basically it's a prison. There are jail cells everywhere, and there are people here. There are your people, people that you recognize, and a lot of people that you don't. And so you begin very unceremoniously breaking down all the doors, getting everyone out. And at this point, there's no this would probably be at the very bottom. So there's like nothing else left to explore in the church, and you're like, okay, I've got what I wanted. I found my people. It's time to get out. And as you're making your way back up through the um through like the laboratory section, you do end up encountering. You take like a different route, and you're brought to like an experiment that's underway, and they have like a surgery table set up, and they're doing like a blood transfer to a person, and overseeing this experiment is Mara, and she has all of her guards with her, but you prepared for this, you were ready, and you like have all your people stand back, and you take her on, and it is a long and hard fight. Because you did not take anyone with you, you are severely outnumbered. And Mara showcases things that you did not think any normal person should be able to. She has some very limited forms of magic. Not unlike the Whisper, who had bonded to the fire demon. But in this case, it was even more limited than that, but still concerning. And the fact that this is showcasing itself, it triggers something within you, and you feel your own latent demon powers awaken, and you start to showcase some of your own true demon abilities. And I would say like you basically gain your own aura. That so as regular demons can instill fear, like how the Leviathans were.
Oh.
Yeah. So that begins to manifest itself around you, and that is how the tides turn in this battle. Suddenly, you don't understand it yourself, because you're like going through a rage. You're like bloodlust. You just
Yeah,
want
honestly, at a
them
certain point, they
dead.
probably stop using their guns.
Yeah.
Just like,
You're just like ripping them apart, basically. But even with all the numbers, they start to fall under this this aura of yours, and they start freaking out, and half the guards just start running away, and you're finally able to catch up to and subdue Mara, and you just completely destroy her. And once that's done, this entire experiment room is cleared out of all church people. You're finally able to like gather back up the people that you've rescued, and you lead them all out back into safety. I'd say with considering your connections to the Leviathan hunters, you could probably very easily get a transport ship.
Yeah, they would
To
probably arrange passage.
Yeah.
Like beforehand.
gets everyone just loaded up and bring everyone back home.
Yeah, I don't know if they ever come back to the city. I think they might just stay home.
Deserve.
Yeah, that's definitely
And
something
also,
that.
it probably wouldn't be smart to come back anyways. after
Yeah,
all.
considering if you burn down like half the church,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's good. You're able to rescue everyone from the dark dungeons of the Church of Ecstasy, and
Fucked
you
up.
figure out how to go Super Saiyan in the process.
Nice.
And then lastly, that leaves Ari.
I think for Ari, she sort of just settles down. Like she spent, I mean, she's pretty young, but she spent like most of her life like in exile and on the run and like living on the streets. And I think like working with these people is sort of like the first time she's, I mean, this life isn't necessarily calm, but it's like the calmest
Yeah.
she's had in a while, and she probably doesn't have her own place. So I think she probably sort of talks to June, helps June with her complex, and I think she probably moves in there at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if June was like, if you don't want to pay for a place, you can just stay with me.
Yeah, Ari would be down with that. And yeah, I think Ari probably considers June like her best friend at that point. Probably confides a
Couple of
lot in her.
besties.
Just a couple of besties.
Couple of besties.
And then I don't know how she would feel about her drive at this point. I think at the very least she wants to know if her family if her like noble family actually were treasonous towards the emperor. I think she wants to find that out, and or if they were just like being framed for it. And I think that that would be like her starting point. And then sort of depending on what she found out there, she would probably try to do the same thing to Rosalind, either frame her or like discover blackmail on her.
Okay.
And I think she would probably go to the crew for this, or at the very least, she would tell June first.
Yeah.
I think June would
Well-
tell you that revenge isn't the answer.
Interesting. Because I think at this point, like her family's been dead for
Yeah.
a while now,
Black sheep is your family now.
and she's sort of been doing her own thing. So yeah, at the very least, she wants to know if they were actually, or if they were actually like guilty of being traitors, or if they were framed for it. At the very least, she wants to find that out.
Yeah. So you do some poking around and getting some help from the crew. You're able to dig deep into sources that you wouldn't normally have been able to on your own. Gathering all of the information that you can. Sixes. You do find out why exactly they were brought to execution. And it does turn out that it was all an inside job. They were not treasonous. They were, in fact, being framed for something, and it was a how do I explain this? It was like a like an Uno reverse card, basically. So Rosalind was in fact the traitorous one, but she basically she took everything that was being put against her and like redacted the names and just planted some stuff here and there and made everything point towards her parents. And
Wow.
because that happened, she was able to rise up through the ranks and get her way to get into a high position of power in Duskvale. That's why she's here. So it was like, as a reward for doing this, we're gonna give you this cush job over in this other town, so you don't have to deal with all this crap that you had to do here. And so that is what happened. And in the process of finding out how this happened, you managed to get copies of the unredacted documents that spell out that she was behind all the traitorous actions that were blamed on your parents.
Okay. I think she holds on to those for like, yeah, she holds on to them for like a couple of months, but during those couple of months, she spends most of her time being like the biggest annoyance she can to Rosalind. And like it's like relatively harmless stuff, but like just like really annoying, just like messing with her house. Like she breaks into her house, like moves the placement of everything, takes like a
Amazing.
bunch of things, and just like screws with her for like a few months, and then she turns those papers in.
Nice. Petty. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're able to pull some strings and get that back home to the proper authorities. And within like a week or so, news starts spreading throughout town that Rosalind is being extradited back home for charges of treason.
And then I think she like fully retires from a life of crime. And I think she starts working at that sword training school
Oh yeah, with the red
as like an
sashes.
instructor.
Yeah.
Because she probably sees like a lot of people from her country there, and it just
Yeah.
sort of reminds her of home. So I think
It's
she ends up getting like an instructor position.
yeah, it is a Ruvian based, and you did wow the instructors there, so it would not be too hard for you to ask for a couple favors and get a starting position there. You probably climb the ranks really quick. Start off as like a substitute teacher for a little bit, but the students love you, and they clamor for your full-time hire. So you're easily given a proper instructor's job, and you become one of those people who's out in the courtyards, going from station to station, overseeing different students, and perhaps staying by the gates and looking at passerbys and trying to pick out maybe a future star student.
Tries to teach June how to sword fight at some point.
And she sucks at it.
It's
June does.
it's one of your most difficult times as a teacher. teaching
Cannot
June.
hold a sword for shit.
Yeah. She probably just ends up having more fun with it. Like after a certain point, as she like sees how June is doing, she just turns into a thing more for like fun instead of like seriously teaching her how to sword fight.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, she lives a happy life as a sword instructor,
Cool.
living in June's apartment complex.
This is fine. All right, and I think that's everyone.
Could all of us becoming normal people,
Yeah.
except for Virgil.
Virgil, who's
Virgil.
Insane.
literally insane.
This is fine. But yeah, that's how we will conclude then.
Hey.
Oh, look at us.
Nice.
Nice. That was so fun.
Pain
Same
complete.
here.
Oh, I'm so glad that we played this. This was really fun.
This was such a nice change of pace.
It was a very
Yeah.
different experience. I enjoyed it a
Yeah,
lot.
but I really like that we got to do it.
Yeah.